If you're thinking about moving to Sarasota County, before you pack your bags, I want to share with you the 5 biggest regrets buyers tell me after they move here, and how you can avoid every single one of them. Also, make sure to watch this video until the end, because I'm going to give you a bonus tip that, quite honestly, most realtors just aren't going to tell you because there's really no money in it for them. By the way, before we get started, I do want to let you know that I help people just like you every week who are looking to make the move to Sarasota County. If you'd like me to help you too, just call or text me at 941-465-9206. You could also click the link in the description below to get in touch. Okay, let's get started. And just so you know, my goal with this video is simple: to help you avoid the mistakes I see over and over again when people move to the Sarasota area. Regret number 1, choosing the wrong part of Sarasota. Sarasota County is huge. You've got downtown Sarasota, Gulfgate, Palmer Ranch, Lakewood Ranch, Siesta Key, Nokomis, Northport, Venice, and so many others within this one county, and each one feels totally different. And where people go wrong is basing their home search on their vacation experience instead of their daily lifestyle. Vacation Sarasota and everyday Sarasota are not the same thing. And let's be honest, vacation you and everyday you are probably not the same person either. So to avoid this, make sure your home search matches your actual routine, your commute, your conveniences, what you want to access every day. I suggest making a list of the everyday conveniences you want. Is there a specific grocery store you need to be close to, a particular gym you use, those kind of things. Regret number 2, underestimating seasonal traffic. Let's face it, Sarasota County doesn't really have the off season anymore like we used to. It's just different levels of busy. With that said, traffic during our peak season, well, it can be shocking. People love coming to Sarasota during the winter and spring, but driving on 41 during the month of March can be a real nightmare. You need to understand that your daily commute, let's say to work for example, will be different in September than it is in March. So just make sure you choose a neighborhood that makes your daily life easy throughout the entire year. Okay, regret number 3, assuming you'll be on the beach every single day. A lot of people move here and picture themselves having a cup of coffee on the beach, going for morning strolls, catching the sunset every day, but then they end up buying a house 30 to 40 minutes away. Trust me, if you live 30 to 40 minutes away from the beach, you are not going there every day. Look, there's nothing wrong with living 30 to 40 minutes away from the beach. Just be honest with yourself about how important beach access really is. If the beach is truly your number 1 priority, choose accordingly. Don't choose an area like Lakewood Ranch. It's just too far. You're at least 30 minutes to the closest beach, at least. Regret number 4, not truly understanding what HOAs are all about. If you're moving from out of state, HOAs can be a completely new concept. And there are really 2 issues with HOAs. 1, how restrictive they are. And some HOAs are much more restrictive than others. Some, you can't put up a fence, you can't park your car on the street, you can't have a basketball hoop in your driveway, and God forbid your grass is half an inch too high. And before you know it, you're getting nasty letters from the HOA. Now obviously this is what some people want or they wouldn't exist. But just make sure you're aware of how restrictive the HOAs are in the neighborhoods you're searching before you buy a home in that neighborhood. The other issue is the cost of these HOAs. Some of them can be quite expensive, and whether or not they're worth the additional expense really depends on whether or not you actually use their amenities. Look, if you're paying an additional $1,000 a month and you actually use the pools, the dog park, the fitness center, the tennis courts, the pickleball courts, and everything else that's included, then the extra monthly fee is worth it. But if you don't use those things, then you're just throwing money away. So again, the key here is to just be honest with yourself. Are you really going to use those amenities? Only you can answer that. Okay, on to regret number 5, and then I'll give you my bonus tip. Number 5, not really understanding what hurricane season is all about. Look, hurricane season is real, and it can be stressful at times. However, I have lived here for over 20 years, and in that time we've only had 1 direct hit where the eye of the storm actually went right over my house. We've had lots of close calls, but only 1 direct hit, and that was last year with Hurricane Milton. And yes, it was scary, But fortunately, in all these years, my home has never flooded and I've never really had any house damage, just mostly trees and fences, which, by the way, can be very costly. Now, with that said, I do know several people who haven't been so lucky and have had quite a bit of damage, which is why it's so important to have proper hurricane insurance. It's also very important to look into the flood zones of the homes you're interested in. And remember, just because you live inland doesn't mean you're safe from flooding. Flooding isn't all about storm surge from the Gulf. In fact, lots of flooding actually occurs inland when the rivers and creeks overflow due to rain. Also, find out if the home you're interested in has ever flooded or had any other hurricane damage in the past. Because honestly, if it survived 2025 with Tropical Storm Debbie, Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton all hitting within a few months, then I would bet that that home's going to be just fine in the future. Okay, before we get to the bonus tip, let's recap the 5 biggest regrets I hear from buyers all the time. 1, choosing the wrong part of Sarasota. 2, underestimating seasonal traffic. 3, thinking you'll be at the beach every day. 4, not understanding HOAs, both how restrictive they are and how expensive they can be. And 5, not truly understanding hurricane-related issues and costs. Okay, now for the bonus tip. And like I said earlier, most realtors won't suggest this because there's really no money in it for them. But here it is. Don't be afraid to give yourself time to search for the right home. What I mean by that is renting for a year or even 6 months can be a great option if you're really unfamiliar with the area. Most realtors would tell you that renting is just throwing money away, but what I tell people is what's really throwing money away is buying a home you don't like and having to sell it a year later, because trust me, you stand to lose a lot more money. Now, if you're already somewhat familiar with the area, that's a different story. You may not need to rent at all, especially with a little guidance from someone who truly understands some of the potential pitfalls of buying a home in Sarasota County. The truth is, with the right guidance, every single one of these regrets is completely avoidable. The key here is just making informed decisions. Because as the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know until somebody explains it. So if you're thinking about making the move to Sarasota County and you want to avoid these common regrets, I'd love to help you out. Best way to reach me is by calling or texting 941-465-9206, or you can also click one of the links in the description below to get in touch. I look forward to helping you make the right move.